This is a rotating type toy, battery powered, has some different patterns to it, does back and forth. There would be a sleeve in here, and then obviously yourself for extra friction. And just to show you the issue with this toy is how low powered it is. If I just barely put my finger on that, it's just, it's struggling. So I like the toy, but I want to give it more power. So the best way to do that is get it off the battery and get it onto a DC jack. I've just taken this apart before. So we have the control board, motor, and a little battery underneath. The first thing I want to do is just test the voltage. It's possible the control board could change the voltage, so it's a 3.7 volt battery. That doesn't mean it's going to be 3.7 volts on the way out. And it looks like it's 3.7 volts. It's before negative. Okay. This control board has the battery charger built into it. It's a little magnetic thing on the front there. What that means is we can't just take a DC jack and go straight in, because if the voltage isn't exact, it will either burn out or just not turn on. And I want to run more than 3.7 volts on it to get a little more speed and power out of it. So what my plan is, the patterns are fine on this, so I'm going to keep the battery powering the control board. But then for the motor, I'm going to have the motor output control a little 298. So we'll take the motor output as a PWM input here. So the patterns will all be the same, but the power to the motor will come through here. So an input voltage, this thing can support up to 10 volts, but probably 5 will be fine. And that way we'll keep patterns the same. The control board will be driven by the battery, but the motor will be driven by a motor driver. All right, so it is assembled now. This is the little controller box I created. 2 DC jacks, one for power and one to go to the motor. Obviously, 2 jacks being the same, not the best idea, so I usually just throw a cover on one of them or something just to make it distinct if I ever have, 2 like this. And DC jack here, and I just have a piece of tape on it again. So we'll turn it on, then hit it once, and then just to see, like, it's definitely still slowing down a bit, but I'm kind of pressing a bit harder, Still has the patterns. Back and forth. And I'm running this at 5 volts. I think I've run it at 6 without really any problems. A lot of it depends on how long you're going to run it. You can hear that it's going faster. The tape almost hurts to get hit by. And honestly, that's how, yeah, this would be the right voltage. The motor is actually right here. So one thing, if you really cared, is just putting some cuts in here, or notching something out for and putting a piece of aluminum just for a heat sink. That would help a lot. From my mentality is, I'd rather have a toy burn out that I enjoy than one I'm never going to use.
There's going to be times where either you can't or don't want to use the controller that came with the toy. You can replace both the controller and driver with a simple PWM motor driver like this. It only has on and off and speed control, so on and off and then speed. So you don't get any of the patterns, but it's very simple. DC input and then motor output. And have it being so small, replacing both of these, it's easy to fit in a tiny, like, little aluminum box.